You know what an ETF is. You've seen the categories, you understand the idea, and yet when it comes to actually buying one, something freezes. The account, the buttons, the fear of getting it wrong. So today we're going to remove that fear completely by walking through the entire thing, step by step, until buying your first ETF feels as simple as it actually is. Because here's the secret the intimidating screens hide. Buying your first ETF is genuinely just a few clicks. It costs almost nothing, and you can start with a tiny amount. The hard part was never the mechanics. It was the fear of the unknown, and we're about to make it known. Before we go further, this video is for educational purposes only, and it is not personalized financial advice. It doesn't recommend any specific fund or broker. Investing involves risk, including the possible loss of money. Always do your own research and consider speaking with a qualified financial professional. Now, let's make your first purchase. The whole thing breaks into 4 simple steps. Open an account, fund it, choose your ETF, place the order. That's it. That's the entire journey from where you are now to owning your first slice of the market. 4 steps. Let's take them one at a time. And step 1 is easier than it's ever been in history. To buy an ETF, you need a brokerage account, an account with a company that lets you buy and sell investments. And here's the good news. At most major brokers today, opening one is free, and buying and selling ETFs now costs 0 commission. The gatekeepers that used to charge you for every trade are mostly gone. So think of a broker as the doorway between your bank account and the market. Your bank holds your cash. The broker lets you turn some of that cash into ownership of companies. You're not handing your money to the broker. You're using them as the bridge to buy the actual investments, which are held in your name. Choosing a broker is simpler than it looks. Look for 3 things: no account fees, no commissions on ETF trades, and a solid, well-established reputation. Most of the big, well-known brokerages tick all 3. Don't agonize over picking the perfect one. The differences between the major reputable brokers are small, and you can always move later. Opening the account is a lot like opening a bank account online. You'll give your details, verify your identity, and link your bank. 15 minutes mostly. No suit, no phone call, no minimum fortune required. It's genuinely that ordinary now. But there's one important choice when you open it: what type of account. Broadly, there are 2 families. A standard taxable brokerage account, flexible, you can take money out anytime, but you may owe tax on gains. And tax-advantaged retirement accounts, which give you powerful tax breaks in exchange for leaving the money until later. And those tax-advantaged accounts are a genuine gift you shouldn't ignore. Retirement accounts let your investments grow while sheltered from tax, either now or later. And over decades, that tax saving alone can add a substantial sum to your final balance. The exact rules and limits vary, so check the current ones, but the principle is huge. Same investment, far less loss to tax. So a common, sensible approach for a beginner is this: if you're investing for the long term and especially for retirement, use a tax-advantaged account first, up to any employer match or contribution limit. If you want flexibility or you've maxed those out, use a regular taxable account. Either way, the ETF you buy inside it works the same. Step 2, fund the account. Once it's open, you link your bank and transfer money in, just like moving money between bank accounts. It might take a day or 2 to settle the first time. And here's the reassuring part: you don't need a fortune. Thanks to a recent change, you can start with almost any amount at all. That change is fractional shares, and it quietly removed the last real barrier to investing. It's worth understanding because it means I don't have enough to start is no longer true for almost anyone. Here's what fractional shares do. In the past, if one share of an ETF cost, say, a few $100s, you needed that full amount to buy even one. Now, most major brokers let you buy a fraction of a share, meaning you can invest a specific dollar amount, like $20 or $50, and own that slice. The price of entry has effectively dropped to pocket change. So whatever you can start with that. Fractional shares mean your first investment can be tiny, and it still counts. It still buys real ownership. It still starts the compounding. The amount matters far less than the fact that you began. Step 3, and this is the one people overthink the most: choosing your first ETF. There are thousands of them, and that choice can feel paralyzing. So let me make it simple the way most sensible long-term guides do. For a first foundational investment, a broad, low-cost index ETF, one that holds a huge slice of the whole market in a single fund, is the classic beginner default. Not because it's exciting, but because it's diversified, cheap, and hard to get badly wrong. We covered the categories in the last video. This is where that knowledge pays off. For most beginners, the foundation is a broad market index fund. The niche and specialty ETFs can come later once you have a core. Build the base first. Why broad and boring? because a broad index ETF spreads your money across hundreds, sometimes thousands of companies at once. If any single one stumbles, it barely dents you. You're not betting on a winner, you're owning the whole field and letting the overall growth of the market carry you. And once you've decided on a broad index ETF, you find it by its ticker, a short code of letters that's basically the fund's name tag on the exchange. You type that ticker into your broker's search bar, and up comes the fund. But before you buy, there's one number on that fund's page you must always check. That number is the expense ratio, the annual fee the fund charges you, shown as a percentage. And for broad index ETFs, it's usually tiny, often just a small fraction of a percent per year. That means for every $1,000 invested, you might pay only $1 or $2 annually. Low cost is one of the biggest advantages ETFs have, and it's sitting right there on the page. So the rule is simple when comparing similar broad index ETFs: favor the one with a lower expense ratio. A smaller fee means more of the growth stays yours. And I want to stress why this tiny-looking number matters so much, because it's the most underrated thing in investing. A fee sounds trivial, a fraction of a percent, who cares? But that fee is charged every single year on your entire balance for decades, and it compounds against you exactly like returns compound for you. Over an investing lifetime, the gap between a low fee and a high fee fund can quietly cost you a stunning amount. We'll go deep on this next video. For now, just know, lower is better always. So you've picked a broad, low-cost index ETF and you've got its ticker. You funded your account. Now comes the moment everyone's nervous about: actually placing the order. On your broker's app or site, you'll find the fund and hit buy or trade. A simple order form appears. It asks a few things: which fund, how much you want to buy, and what type of order. Don't panic at the form, it's just a checkout screen. Let's walk through each box so nothing on it is a mystery. First, how much? You'll either enter a number of shares or, if your broker supports fractional investing, a dollar amount. For a beginner, entering a dollar amount is often easiest. You just type "I want to invest this many dollars" and the broker works out the shares and fractions for you. Clean and simple. Then the order type. This is the box that intimidates people, and it's really just two main choices: a market order or a limit order. Here's the difference in plain English. A market order buys the fund right now at whatever the current price is. A limit order lets you set a maximum price you're willing to pay, and it only buys if the price is at or below that. For a broad ETF you plan to hold for years, a market order is usually perfectly fine. The tiny price wiggles simply don't matter over a long horizon. So for your first, simple, long-term ETF purchase, a market order keeps things easy. You enter the fund, the dollar amount, choose market order, and the app shows you a summary: what you're buying, roughly how much it'll cost, and any fees, which for a good ETF at a good broker should be zero. You review that summary, and if it looks right, you confirm. That's the button. That's the whole thing. And the moment you press it, congratulations, you're an investor. You own a piece of hundreds of companies. That thing that felt like a locked door for other people, you just walked through it. It really is that anticlimactic and that significant. The order usually fills in seconds during market hours. If you place it when markets are closed, it'll simply execute when they next open. Either way, soon after, you'll see your new ETF sitting in your account, your first holding. Now, here's what to do after you buy, and it's where the real discipline lies. Because the most common beginner mistake isn't picking the wrong fund. It's what they do next. They check it obsessively. Every hour, every dip, every headline. And that constant watching leads to panic, to selling low, to tinkering, the exact behaviors that hurt long-term investors most. So the instruction is almost funny. Buy it, then mostly ignore it. Your broad ETF is designed to be held for years through ups and downs. Checking it daily doesn't help it grow. It only helps you make emotional mistakes. So set it, glance at it occasionally, and let the years do their work. The best investors are often the ones who look at their accounts the least. But there's one thing you should set up right after your first buy, and it turns a single purchase into a genuine wealth-building machine: automation. Most brokers let you set up recurring, automatic investments, buying the same ETF with the same amount on the same day each month without you lifting a finger. This is the single most powerful habit in investing. It turns your first nervous purchase into a steady, unstoppable stream of ownership, and it removes every future decision. And automating your investing works for the same reason automating your saving does. It beats relying on willpower. Investors who set up automatic, regular contributions tend to invest more consistently and are far less likely to panic sell during downturns, because the buying just continues calmly on schedule. So if you take one extra action beyond your first buy, make it this: Set up an automatic monthly investment into your broad index ETF for an amount you can comfortably afford. Now you're not just an investor who bought once. You're an investor who buys every single month automatically forever. That's how real portfolios get built, not in one heroic purchase, but in 100 quiet ones. There's one more setting worth flipping: dividend reinvestment. Many ETFs pay out small dividends, a share of the profits from the companies they hold. You can take that cash, or you can automatically reinvest it to buy more of the fund. And reinvesting matters enormously. Over long periods, reinvested dividends have historically made up a large share of the total return of the market. Turn it on and let it quietly compound. So there's a tiny checkbox, usually labeled something like Reinvest Dividends or DRIP, ticket. It costs you nothing, and it puts every dividend straight back to work buying more ownership automatically. It's one of the easiest, highest value clicks in your entire account. Now let me run through the beginner mistakes to avoid, because knowing the traps is half the battle. Mistake 1: waiting for the perfect time to buy. There isn't one. Trying to time the market is a game even professionals lose. The sensible move is to invest steadily, regardless of whether the market feels high or low. Time in the market beats timing the market. Mistake 2: buying too many different ETFs at once, thinking it means more diversification. It usually just means overlap and confusion. One broad fund is plenty to start. Mistake 3: chasing whatever ETF went up the most last year. Last year's winner is often next year's disappointment. You're not shopping for the hottest fund. You're buying a broad, boring foundation and holding it. Resist the shiny. Mistake 4: panic selling in a downturn. The market will fall sometimes. That's normal and permanent. Selling when it's down locks in the loss and misses the recovery. The plan is to keep buying through the dips, not run from them. And mistake 5: never starting at all because you're waiting until you understand everything. You don't need to. You now know enough to make a sensible first purchase. Understanding deepens by doing. So let's talk about that first purchase nervousness directly, because it's real. It's completely normal to feel a flutter of fear pressing buy for the first time. You're doing something new with real money. But remember what you're actually doing: buying a tiny, diversified slice of the entire economy to hold for years. That's not gambling. That's about the most sensible thing a person can do with spare money. And to shrink the fear even further, make your first purchase small. Genuinely small. Invest an amount that, if it dropped by half tomorrow, you'd shrug. The goal of the first buy isn't to get rich. It's to break the seal, to prove to yourself that you can do this and that nothing scary happens. Confidence comes from the doing. Because once you've made that first small purchase, something shifts. The mystery is gone. The buttons aren't scary anymore. You've seen the whole process end to end, and you know it's ordinary. The second purchase takes 30 seconds and zero courage. You become someone who invests. And that matters because the range of choice out there is genuinely overwhelming. There are thousands of ETFs available today, covering every market, sector, and theme imaginable. But here's the liberating truth: a beginner needs almost none of them. One or two broad, low-cost funds can be a complete, sensible foundation. The abundance is not a to-do list. So don't let the sheer number of options freeze you. You are not obligated to understand or own the thousands of niche funds. You're building a simple foundation, usually just one broad market ETF to start. And that simplicity isn't a beginner's compromise. For most people, it's the whole strategy, start to finish. Let me put the whole process back together so it's crystal clear. Open a brokerage account, free, 15 minutes. Choose the right type, favoring tax-advantaged for long-term money. Fund it from your bank. Find a broad, low-cost index ETF by its ticker and check that expense ratio is low. Place a market order for a comfortable dollar amount. Confirm. Then automate a monthly investment, turn on dividend reinvestment, and get on with your life. That's it. That's the entire thing that felt like a locked vault for so long. A doorway, a bridge, a checkout screen, and a button. Behind it isn't a rigged casino for insiders. It's just ownership made available to anyone with a phone and a few dollars. The barrier was never real. It was only ever the fear of the unfamiliar, and now it's familiar. And what you've actually done when you make that first buy is profound in its own quiet way. You've stopped being purely a worker who trades hours for money and become, even in a tiny way, an owner whose money now works alongside you. That shift from earner to owner is where real wealth begins. It doesn't matter that the first slice is small. What matters is that the machine is now running. Every automatic purchase from here just feeds it. You've built the engine, now you let it turn. And notice how this connects to the bigger picture. If you've watched our Money Habits series, this is the vehicle those habits were building toward: the gap you save, invested here in a broad ETF on autopilot. The discipline creates the money. This is where it goes to grow. Two halves of one complete plan, so the fear is handled, the steps are clear, and the account is a few clicks away. The only thing standing between you and being an investor now is doing it, and you have everything you need to do it well. And it's worth doing because of where this quietly leads. Historically, a broad basket of the market, bought steadily and held for the long term, has rewarded patient owners handsomely, turning modest, regular investments into substantial sums over the decades, through the simple engine of ownership plus time. Past performance never guarantees the future, and it won't be a straight line, but the direction over long horizons has been remarkably consistent. Your first small purchase is the first step onto that path. So the first ETF isn't really about the first ETF. It's about becoming the kind of person who owns, who invests, who has money working while they sleep. And that identity starts with one ordinary, unremarkable click of a buy button. And you never have to make that first click as an expert. Nobody does. You make it as a beginner who understands enough, which, after these 3 videos, you now firmly do. The expertise comes later, from years of quietly owning and occasionally learning. The start only asks for enough, and you're there. Because the gap between the people who invest and the people who only mean to isn't knowledge or money or courage. It's usually just the first click. Everything else follows from it. So let's bring it together. Buying your first ETF is 4 steps. Open a brokerage account free and fast, choosing a tax-advantaged one for long-term money where it fits. Fund it from your bank. Fractional shares mean any amount works. Pick a broad, low-cost index ETF by its ticker and check the expense ratio is low. Place a simple market order for a comfortable dollar amount, review and confirm. Then automate a monthly buy and switch on Dividend Reinvestment. That's a complete, sensible start, nothing left out. None of this required a fortune, an advisor, or a finance degree. It required a phone, a few dollars, and the willingness to press one button you've been afraid of. Do that and you cross a line most people never cross, from someone who talks about investing to someone who actually does it. The account is minutes away. The first buy is dollars, not thousands. And the version of you a decade from now, watching that first small purchase quietly grow into something real, will be very glad you stopped waiting and started owning. That's the difference between understanding investing and being an investor, and it was never about knowing everything. It was about beginning. In our next video, we zoom in on that small-looking number we flagged today, the expense ratio. It seems trivial, a fraction of a percent. But it's one of the few things you fully control, and over a lifetime it can quietly cost or save you a small fortune. We'll show you exactly how much and how to never overpay. If this finally made buying your first ETF feel doable, subscribe. The ETF investing series is built to be watched in order, each video handing you the next piece. You came in nervous, you're leaving ready. So here's your one action. Today, open a brokerage account. That's it, just open it. You don't have to buy anything yet. Just get the door open, link your bank, and look around. Because once the account exists, that first small purchase is only a click away. And you'll be amazed how quickly you take it.